knew how to quit eating bugs.
And this being so weird.
There's no place like home.
I'm gonna make him an offer down with you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, to the 96th episode of Gone with the Wind, where we tell everyone Jessica Chastain has a SAG. Guys, I don't know why I'm so happy about that statistic, but I'm happy about that statistic. Cue the music. It feels good when the best of that bunch actually gets the win, you know? Just saying. I'm just saying. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. Welcome to the, wow, where are we? Gone with the Wind, the show about award shows. We talk about, you guessed it, award shows. My mind went on a blank for a second, and I apologize. But we have an esteemed panel here today. I'm your host, Manning Franks, and I was not here last week for personal family reasons. For those who know, my grandfather passed away from... wow, my brain just passed away. Heart failure, we'll say. But I'm back here having a nice distraction from this all to talk about SAG, and appreciate all the well wishes and the prayers for those who have reached out to me. I sincerely appreciate that. But Dan and Malcolm stood up to the plate, and they killed it with our special guest, Jeff Snyder, to discuss the SAG predictions. So, Dan, how did you do with SAG? I should ask, sir.
Oh, yeah. You know, Malcolm, man, me and you used to be friends. We used to be friends.
We used to?
Now I don't know if we're friends anymore. No, I got two right in the SAG predictions. I got Big Willie and Ariana DeBose. Those are the two. That's it.
Well, I am very sorry to hear that. Thankfully, I will hold off and let you know what mine was. I went out on a limb and it paid off. But we'll get into that in a second. Malcolm, we have you here today. Tell us a little bit about how did you do on SAG?
I did pretty good. I got 4 out of the 6. I didn't get supporting and actress, but I'm happy for getting the 4 out of the 6. So.
Hey. That's good. That's good. I got 5 out of 6, as I will say, because I went for Coda, because I thought, you know what, that seems like a very actory movie, and I just did not buy Belfast, especially after it missed the 2 supporting actors. I wasn't buying that after what had happened. The love is not as great as I think we first thought for Belfast. I just think so, at least.
Predictions saying otherwise, my friend.
Predictions say otherwise? Well, we'll get into that in it. We'll get into that in a second, I think. But SAG was, we'll get into SAG in like a hot second. But I think overall that was a really good show. I'll just talk about the show real fast. And I think it was a really solid show that we were able to see. It was kind of short, sweet, and to the point, and it brisked right on by. But I think that's what an award show like that should be at that extent. It's kind of not many categories, and they kind of had some great moments, like obviously Michael Keaton coming up and being in the bathroom when he won, which I think is a great iconic SAG moment. Dan, what was one of your favorite moments at SAG?
I did like Michael Keaton. That was a good one. But I like the emotion. You know, when I hear these speeches and I get the emotion from these people, I love that. And Big Willie, Will Smith's speech.
Big Willie.
I'm telling you, man, he's starting to prepare these speeches. I remember a couple of years ago when Joaquin Phoenix, you could start seeing these speeches and how he's talking at every one of these award shows, you know. And it's like Willie's preparing. I think Will Smith is preparing for this. But Chastain, her speech was great because she didn't expect to win.
No, that was a great off-the-cuff speech.
Yeah. So those are my favorite moments. But also, like Helen Mirren, I love that she got like the Lifetime Achievement Award. You know,
loved it.
What a great career.
I didn't like how they showed a lot of collateral beauty in that one, but other than that, Malcolm, what were some of your favorite moments of the SAG award show in and of itself? Like any speeches, any segments?
I mean, I didn't actually watch SAG because it wasn't actually showing in New Zealand.
Are you serious?
Well, I mean, if it was, I didn't know where to watch it.
It was on TBS and TNT. Do you have those?
No.
That's really unfair for international viewers. How in the world are they expected to watch it if they can't,
I mean, I think there's probably a play somewhere I could have watched it. I just was busy, so just forgot to look up and find out.
Well, it is also for the first time ever. It is also on HBO Max. Like the actual show, the 2-hour show is on HBO Max to stream and to view, which I find to be a really cool thing for those who miss it. They have HBO Max there?
No.
Nope. Ah, never mind then.
No, I haven't got that in New Zealand.
The discrepancies is so strange to me personally. The fact that it's like, well, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But no, one of my favorite moments was actually, just seeing Jessica Chastain's shocked face of just kind of not expecting that. Because I had Nicole Kidman. That's the one where I missed because I was just thinking, oh, she's going to waltz her way through it and it's not going to be as exciting as we think. But no. Turned out to be an absolute delight to witness and see her reaction. Troy Kotzer, I was so happy to see him get that. And I think that is just, his speech was also really powerful and really just kind of sincere to hear about his story. He is I'm not sure if he prepared his speech, obviously, but he's very naturally charismatic, Troy Kotzer. Like, massive props to him, I think. So was Will Smith. I think every speech was actually great. I don't think there was a bad speech of the night. Do you guys disagree? I don't remember there being a bad speech.
No, even like the Squid Game people were fantastic.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I was so happy for them. I was so happy for them so much just because like it's Lee Jung Jae, I'm not positive, I think is his name for Squid Game. He's fantastic and I'm so glad he won. Vote splitting, guys, it's very real.
Yeah, I guess all the Succession people split votes and none of them won.
Yeah, they won the cast though. So.
Yeah, great cast. Well, so that's the big one. So they, at least they have that in their hat. They could tip their hat to that.
This is true.
They have that in their cap. I guess they said.
So we'll get into SAG actual with the predictions, what this means for the Oscar race going forward. But quickly, Dan, what did you watch this past week? What are some highlights? There's one of them, I think.
This past week. Well, I watched Slow Horses on Apple. I watched Ptolemy Gray on Apple. I watched Pachinko on Apple.
Ooh, is that out now?
Well, I'm in the Apple screening room. I'm in the Apple screening room.
That'll do it.
So I get to watch all these shows on Apple screening room. You'll see reviews of all these shows coming out in the next few weeks, one by one. Movies, Cherry Bushido, it's Japanese film with a little bit of martial arts in it, but it does have a kind of underlying like story about what we're going through in the world today a little bit. What else did I see? God, I saw my second screening of the Batman last week. I could only say that I loved the Batman. I was being chastised by Jeff Snyder for Warner Brothers going to be at my door for saying anything about it, but I'm all right. It was like a tweet anyway. I mean, you're allowed to just say, "Hey, I love the movie," because everybody could tweet about it. So it was just my way of just tweeting about it by saying, "Yeah, I really like the movie." That was it. I didn't spoil anything or gave any kind of in-depth thing about the Batman. So my second and third times I saw it this week, and
how did you able to see it? That's 6 hours plus. That's probably like 7 hours. I'm not gonna lie. Seeing the Batman twice is gonna be a commitment to do.
3 times.
I've seen it How? How do you have time to see it 3 times?
Because I made the time. I made the time because it was my number one. I have on my predictions of the movies that my most anticipated movies of the year. That Batman was my number one movie. I was looking forward to. Mm-hmm. So I saw it for my press screening, which I couldn't bring anybody to it. Then I went to a different press screening, which I could bring 1+1 to it. And then I went to one of the early AMC screenings which was like on the 2nd. So I saw it 2 Thursdays ago, Monday and Wednesday. And that was all before it actually opened on
Jeez.
Thursday. But I just love the movie.
That's
I mean, I think it's. I'm still debating if it's better than The Dark Knight, but I'm in that camp.
It's
Maybe
different.
The Dark Knight slightly. I mean, by the skin of its teeth, better than the Batman. But the things the Batman does that the Dark Knight doesn't do is
Yeah.
the gritty, the rain, the darkness.
It
the
does really
blue,
well.
The score by Giacchino, the cinematography I loved. Chicago. Thank you for going back to Chicago, Matt Reeves, because Chicago to me is the perfect setting for Gotham City. When they went to Pittsburgh and The Dark Knight Rises, you could tell it was Pittsburgh. It's not Gotham City.
Unless you've never been to Pittsburgh and you couldn't tell.
I mean, and it didn't look anything like Chicago. And then, I mean, and I know Transformers Dark of the Moon was filming in Chicago at the time, and they couldn't film The Dark Knight and Transformers Dark of the Moon, so they went to Pittsburgh. And it's just like, come on, man. This isn't Gotham. This isn't the Gotham that you established, Christopher Nolan. But Matt Reeves goes back to Chicago, and wow, does Chicago look great as Gotham City once again. But yeah, I think the question about our paths being Twilight Boy is done. He's now Batman. Bruce Wayne.
He's now Batman. Yes.
The Cat, Paul Dano, Zoe Kravitz, Colin Farrell, Andy Serkis as Alfred. I mean, just Jeffrey Wright. I mean, wow. I absolutely love this movie. And if you read the comics, there's little bits and pieces from here and there in some of the comic book stories, which is good for those people. But for me, it had underlying like tones of Seven and Zodiac, David Fincher kind of films that to me, it was like Reeves' homage to those films, which I'm actually, spoiler, I got 7 on right here. I'm about a half hour into it. But
vibes I got, same vibes.
Yeah, and I just love the Batman. I mean, it's going to be my number one of the year. About a month, unless I see something else. That might be my number one of the year for a long time, but I'm seeing something out in about 3 weeks. So who knows? Maybe that'll be my number one, maybe Batman. So, but yeah, I can't say enough about it. I just think it's one of the best movies that they've done
of the year so far.
Franchise, maybe one of the best comic book movies. I think you could put 2 Batman movies in the top 5 of comic book movies of all time: The Dark Knight and now the Batman.
I still think the Batman needs time to marinate. Like, yeah. I think the hype is very real, but no, I would agree, because I do believe that, for me personally, I think I like the stylized version of the Batman more than the more realistic interpretation of the Dark Knight. I love the Dark Knight. I think it's great, but I love just the there's really great artistic craftsmanship to the Batman. It's stylized, of course, like it's very much like comic booky, but also detective noir, and even I really responded to that.
Even like his costume made sense in the context of the film. How he uses his bat symbol, he uses his cape. You know, and the fact that he's in with the police, he's walking the crime scenes with the police and stuff like that. Yeah, some of them aren't on board, but this is oh God, tell me you didn't love that Batmobile scene. Oh my God!
I won't spoil it, but I realized when it showed up, I'm like, we haven't gotten the Batmobile yet.
Wow!
Oh, we're getting the Batmobile.
I don't want to spoil the whole movie either, because Malcolm, have you seen the Batman yet? I didn't spoil anything for you, did I?
I don't care about spoilers, so
yes, Malcolm does not care for spoilers.
I loved it, but I'll tell you, Malcolm, talking to you, what I like is that Matt Reeves sets it in a comic book world, a gritty comic book world, but also takes real life stuff that's going on today in society and puts it into the movie. And you're like, oh, okay. And you're a newsman, Manning, so you would, okay.
No, I like that. That's what it feels. It's timely. That's why I really enjoy the Batman. It's timely, but it has great artistic merit and a great, really solid story that really explores the identity between Batman and Bruce Wayne in a way that I feel like, or the dichotomy or the lack of dichotomy, how they're kind of like one and the same at this point. He doesn't have the separation. He's a young Batman. When's the last time we ever like truly got that? You know, he said, yeah, year two. So when did we last time we've truly gotten that? Josephine, come on, come back there. There we go. Josephine DeMarco says, saw the Batman yesterday. Whenever I saw the riddles, I thought how funny would it be if there were an I Spy book Gotham City edition with the Riddler's riddles. Hey, you know what? I loved I Spy as a kid. I think that'd be fantastic. Because the Riddler. Paul Dano was born to play the Riddler. I don't know I don't know how I feel about the costume, but
let me real quick, man,
please.
And I love that you know months and months and months before the movie films and all this, you see the Paul Dano is the Riddler. This one is that one. This one is, but you don't know what the vision of the filmmaker is. You don't know why he casts these people and what's the. And now when you see the movie, you're like, well, that makes sense.
It does. It makes perfect sense.
So you can't question the casting decisions months and months and months before them. But that's just kind of on like Colin Farrell, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, and these people, because they were. I mean, what a great cast. I mean, I couldn't imagine anybody else playing these roles in this movie.
No, absolutely not. I don't think there was, and I think this was done like genuinely excellent filmmaking. Just overall, the cinematography, the score, Giacchino's score was fantastic. Like obviously we're a long ways out, but if we're talking Oscar potential, like Lord, give this at least some crafts to some capacity, like a nomination for cinematography and score.
Right now, it's in the 5 for score and cinematography. Right now, production.
Production, yeah, that's another good one. Those 3, I would love it to be in the contention for at least those 3. Obviously, we need to see how the rest of everything plays out. But man, please have it in contention.
Costumes? How about but penguins? Yeah. Don't tell me you wouldn't want to wear some of them suits of penguins. Man, that
was awesome. The makeup, makeup,
Catwoman costume. How realistic? Like
it made sense.
Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff you think, wow, this stuff in that context of the movie makes a lot of sense. It
really does. And I really appreciate just kind of, it's realistic, but it's a stylized realism. There's some things that make sense out of real, but there's some things that also are kind of far out there, because literally it's a guy dressed up in a bat suit kind of fighting crime. In and of itself, out of context, it's strange, but it works for the world that they have created. And Josephine, I agree. She says that the Riddler gave me chills, man. And yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely did. But yeah, that's any last month with the thoughts about the Batman?
No, but I did see one more of them. It's called Girl on the Mountain. It's not that good. It's just about a little girl that gets lost. This guy who's having his own issues is out living in the wilderness, and he finds this little girl on the mountain. And he's like a mentor to the little girl. Then as the movie progresses, you get to see some of the backstory of the guy and the little girl. So, but it's not good. It's 6 Bond films. They're usually not that great.
Yeah. Oh well. For me, I don't think I watched any new besides the Batman, of course. No new films that I watched. I rewatched Drive My Car I rewatched it. Still really good. It's not like my favorite film of the year per se, but man, is it so good. It is just this beautiful dissection of grief, and I really appreciate that. I saw it through a new lens. I saw it through a new lens.
Went away,
Yeah, you're right. I saw it through a new lens. With my grandfather's recent passing, the idea of grief. So it really hits hard. It hit harder the second time, and it's really good. And I would not be, and I understand why it's in the Best Picture contention, and I'm really happy that it is, because it's just so good. It is a beautiful, very methodical look at how we as human beings deal with grief in different ways, or deal with life really in different ways, through different lenses.
Malcolm's got a big one he finally saw this week.
Yes, Malcolm. It's kind of like, I don't think I've seen anything else there. So Malcolm, tell me, what did you see this past week?
Well, I've been just watching a lot of DC animated movies, preparation for ranking today, but one I did watch was West Side Story, which I actually really like. It's a really good movie. The one thing I really didn't like Ariana DeBose's portrayal as Anita. Rita Moreno's shades better than Ariana DeBose as Anita.
That is not what I expected to hear. Oh, wow.
But I really did like Mike Feist, so I think he was great.
I agree there. Wow. Shots fired.
Yeah, I think I might watch it again tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I might give it a second shot, because I know that neither you and I, Dan, were the biggest fans of the movie, but I think we have more issues with the story than anything else, or is that more my critiques?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it's dated. The
Yeah.
story's dated. To be honest, I'm sorry, but the story's dated, you know?
I think anyone would tell you that it's dated. Malcolm, do you consider, okay, what is your opinion upon the story? Performances aside, what are your deeper thoughts of the film? I'm curious.
I really liked the story. I thought it was a good story. And I mean, it's one of those ones, like, it is a 60s movie, so I mean, the movie's going to be dated because it's just going to be not what they may have experienced in this day and age. But
why make it, Malcolm? That's my question to you.
Well, like as I always say, I think remaking movies is actually a good thing, especially to kind of make it fresh for it to get younger people into the things, because there's one thing I find is when you try to tell younger people to go watch this classic movie, they're not going to go to it because they're going to class it as oldie foldy, or just a really old movie is just going to be really boring to them. So I think remaking movies is a good way to kind of redo it in a way that it's going to probably appeal to younger audiences more, especially when you get in people they may know from things or not know, like as much as I hate to say it, like Ansel Elgort, for example, like people know who he is, and like Ariana DeBose or Rachel Ziegler, I don't know if they're known, but that much.
No, because this was Ziegler's first performance, so yeah, they did. She was a first time.
She's been in a couple things since making West Side Story that have come out, and DeBose was in the Prom. She was in the Prom, and now she just got cast in as Calypso in the new Kraven the Hunter movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
not excited.
Kraven the Hunter is shaping up to be something good. I can't wait.
It's something.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Kraven the Hunter, man. From the comic, I'm a big Spider-Man fan.
Hey, there you go.
So I hope it's good. I hope it's good. And then maybe
of course,
down the road we'll get Kraven's Last Hunt. Ooh, one of my favorite comic book stories of all time.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like, I get the arguments people make, like, oh, why do we make this? But for me, it's like, well, they just want to get it out there for younger audiences to maybe digest it better, because they're going to see it in crisp and clear kind of thing. It's not going to be a foggy. It's not going to be as clear as what the original one would be. And maybe if they like it enough, they're going to go back to watch the original as well. So there's that as well.
Well, John Campion once said, Malcolm.
That's true.
John Campion once said, Malcolm, if you don't like the remake, reboot, whatever, you always have the original. So you're 100% correct, Malcolm. You can always go back and watch the original if you don't like the new one.
No, that's true, and I think there is merit to that argument because the original, the new remake might come out, and you're like, why do we need this? And you may not need it, but we may not need it, but it doesn't negate the fact that it's there and that people do enjoy it. Like some people do enjoy West Side Story, even if I may not. Some people actually may enjoy it, and that encourages them to see more movies. And what better, especially with the state of movies that we're in now, where people just aren't going to the theater much anymore, and that
Thanks
I think there was.
The AMC CEO jack off.
Yeah, they're charging more for, and then also the fact I think 20th Century Studios was saying like they're only going to do like 3 big films a year in theaters theatrically. So going forward, so it's kind of like in this timeline that we're in, yeah, people go see movies. I just want them to see movies at this point. I don't care if you're remaking a classic film. It's a classic film at the end of the day, and I'm just kind of happy that it's not just a superhero film. It's something a little more,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I understand. Go ahead, Malcolm.
Yeah, but it's one of those ones because I'll never. I've lost my train of thought where I was actually going anyway. But
you've never thought.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's. I always never get the argument for why remake it, because if you don't want to watch the remake, don't watch the remake. But there's there's a lot of. I think there's a lot of merits to remaking stuff because, like, if you want to change it up to make it a more current adaptation, and that, then go ahead. Because I mean, this is like for that's where I was going. Because for this one, this is clearly a passion project for Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Because like he dedicated this to his dad, so it's definitely, it must be one of his dad's favorite movies or something. So he wanted to kind of remake it and put his own sort of spin on it. And I think he did a really great job. Because I think because I'm pretty sure one of the biggest changes he did was he moved, I feel, pretty along the timeline of the movie a little bit. So you know, since I've actually seen the original, but I'll probably will go back to watch the original at some stage. So I mean, and I actually agree with sort of Spielberg being nominated for director, because I think he's deserving of a nomination.
Well, I wish I wish I could agree with that, but I can't. That is again my opinion alone, and I'm glad that we have a contrarian to other what me and Dan were thinking, because I don't want all of us to like the same movies. I don't want us all to dislike the same movies. Like some people may love one aspect of a film, some other people may not love another aspect of a film, and I'm glad that is out there and that we can have that discussion. But also there have been some recent happenings within the Academy recently. We know that these changes have been transpiring, but there have been further news that has come out. I can't remember if it was Variety or the Hollywood Reporter. I think it was the Hollywood Reporter, because Scott Mendelson usually is the first one to break these, because from what I've found out is that someone within the branch always lets him know what happens. So he has one of the first inside scoops, one of the heads of the branches. I forgot where I heard that, if it was from IndieWire podcast or some other thing. But it turns out in this article, it was stated that the Oscars would have been canceled if they didn't cut, and this is from ABC, mind you, the parent company that actually hosts the Oscars on their network. ABC said, if you don't cut 12 categories, we're going to cancel the show. They didn't do that, thankfully. If they don't remove from the actual ceremony. They didn't do that, thankfully. And the more I'm reading into this and getting into this, the more I'm realizing this isn't something I know that they did thinking, oh, maybe this will help boost viewership. I think they're doing this because they're trying to find a way to appease ABC so that ABC doesn't pull the trigger and cut them. That's not going to happen, though, is it? Like, there is no way, sense, or form. They came to an agreement, of course, and like by now they're doing what they're doing now, is what we know, to where they're going to have some of them like editing, sound, which I know the sound branch people are really upset because apparently there was an agreement where the sound mixing and sound editing, if they were combined, they would never be taken off the main show. They went back on that promise, of course, and I think it's all goes back to ABC wanting ratings over the quality of the actual craft, of the craftsmanship of the show, honoring those. They don't care about that. They want the numbers. They want the ratings. They want the chutzpah when it comes to the numbers and the Nielsen ratings, which I think, again, in my opinion, is really stupid because you cannot judge things by Nielsen ratings alone in this day and age. It is a very digital world we live in, and it's very narrow-minded for ABC to look at through that lens. I don't blame Dave Rubin as much as ABC. I think he's trying to find a way. There was a line in the article where it's like, they're cutting off an arm to save the rest of the body. And while it's unfortunate, and I think it's wrong, and they're doing this the wrong way, if they have given no choice because ABC has threatened them into a corner, I get it. I like it. And I think that the moment their contract ends, ABC should leave ABC. Find some other place, find a streaming network, do something else. It is kind of ridiculous that ABC is making the Oscars go into this little corner right here because they're not getting the ratings they once did. People are consuming things differently, and ABC needs to realize that and partner in some streaming way and capacity and realize, hey, this is not the big thing that we had in the 90s when we had it. This is something completely different. Dan, what are your thoughts with this new information that has come out in regards to ABC wanting to put their hand in the cookie jar and change the show? I think Dan's frozen up. Malcolm, you tell me your thoughts.
Like, if ABC really did do this ultimatum, I'll trust the people that have been speaking out about this because they probably know more than I do on this. But if ABC really did do this, it's a really shitty move.
It really is.
Because like forcing, because I wouldn't be surprised if it's like ABC, which forced them to get a host in and do this fan favorite stuff as well. Because they probably thought, oh well, let's get you guys to a fan favorite award so that there's more big things that we can celebrate.
And I will say, I am okay if we had the fan favorite and the cheer moments, and that we have to have that in order to keep all the categories. I'm okay with that. I'd be completely okay with that. I see what they're doing, and I'm for that. I think they're going about it in the wrong way, but I'm for that. I think they went too far with the cutting of the categories.
Oh yeah, that's definitely thing because as you said, people do consume information differently, and streaming is a big thing here. And I mean, not a lot of people actually. I mean, well, there's a lot of people that do the parties for the Oscars and all that to watch them live.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a major thing anymore. Like, you don't get people sitting around the TV to watch the Oscars all the time. It's just, it's been happening less and less from what I've heard.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things.
It's people's viewing habits have changed, basically, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think because I don't know how long their contract for ABC is, but I think the Academy either needs to break that and maybe consider doing actually streaming it on YouTube, like what they do with the nominations.
Mm-hmm.
Or something else, because it's clear that ABC is really not helping them with what they want to do.
That's the thing, is that I've realized, and when I'm looking over this and reading this, it's that. By the way, you asked how much longer they have. They have roughly about until the 100th anniversary of the Oscars, which, to my knowledge, is like in about
5 years away because this is
For
95.
this is the 90. Ooh, that's a great question. It's like 95, 96, I believe. So they have at least a couple more years until that contract is supposedly over. And I know they're not going to, they're not going to break it because that's going to be really expensive. And I know they're probably worried about money because they don't bring in the amount of money they used to. And they just opened up a museum now. So because they're a nonprofit at the end of the day. They're not a
Yeah.
for-profit company. They're a nonprofit. They got to make money the way they can. And they have to be able to satisfy ABC, their overlords. And I understand they want to change, but I feel like they're kind of they're going back and excluding the very thing that they're kind of supposed to be honoring,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that the 100th Oscars is probably it has to be that one specifically. It has to be a big deal. You can't cut anything out of that one because they're going to want to sort of celebrate like 100 years of the
Yeah.
Oscars, and they're going to want to make a big deal out of it. If you're trimming it down to fit a 3 to 4 hour window, you can't do that for the 100th Oscars for certainly.
And I just found out Dan has internet problems right now, so he will try to get back on as quickly as he possibly can. Any more thoughts you have in regards, Malcolm, to just what ABC is possibly apparently doing? And again, this is all what we've had from what Scott Feinberg, excuse me, not Scott Feinberg, wait, is it Scott Feinberg? Yeah, excuse me, not Scott Minson, Scott Feinberg of the Hollywood Reporter. It's what he's been reporting, which I don't doubt it, but again, it's not been officially confirmed, so this is just reporting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a lot more words, but I think the Academy could have done a better job of explaining why they're cutting the categories to the branches, because I think if they explained that,
Yeah.
well, we were told to do this, then I
Being
think
transparent.
I think the branches might be more kind of, there wouldn't be this kind of infighting that's happening at the moment with all the branches being upset about it.
No, I agree completely. I think the infighting is not helping in the slightest because they're at that stage now where like they're not going to be able to please everybody. That's just a fact. They will not be able to please everybody. And they need to know that. They can't expect to please everyone, but if they're kind of forgetting what the purpose of the Oscars was, I feel like, and that's honoring everybody, and they need to find a way to be able to, well, honor everyone at the end of the day. I know they're doing it in a way that they feel like it, but if you're getting all this backlash from your branches and they say we don't feel like you're actually honoring us, then you need to have that conversation and be like, okay, what are we not doing? What can we do to make sure you feel like you're being honored? Because I know they want to try to amputate an arm to save the whole body, but in the process, there has to be a more strategic way to do this,
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried arguing about maybe trimming out the actual performances. Because I mean it's one of those ones, because as much as I do love seeing the performances, and I think they, whether or not they try to do it or not, I don't know. But if they try to, I think ABC said no, the performances add a lot to this thing. You have to keep them. But personally, I probably would have maybe moved the performances to the pre-show, get them recorded, and then play.
Like they did last year.
Yeah. Although
Like,
I think last year they had no choice because just so they could have them
COVID.
perform.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think a lot of stuff that we had with COVID, we're not gonna have. There are some things of last year that you're kind of like, oh, okay, we're gonna have to adapt to a brand new world now. And even though we don't want to implement some things we did last year at the ceremony, I think having the stuff before, but they're shooting after an audience that doesn't exist, and trying to incorporate all these isn't always gonna work,
Yeah. But I'll miss them filming at the train station.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Even though we want to go back to the Dolby Theater and everything, it was still cool to see such. All right. Well, while we're still waiting for Dan to continue or jump back in, I should say, we had a couple of craft categories that were announced before we get back into our complete SAG reactions. A couple of craft categories were recently announced, and I forgot to get them up, so apologies. The Ace Eddie Awards, probably my favorite craft because I'm a big editor fan. The Ace Eddie Awards have officially announced their winners, and they are as follows. In the drama category, because again, they break things off or break things up, excuse me. In the drama category for film, we had King Richard win for best. Oh, there goes my phone. It just fell. For King Richard, we had. Oh, excuse me. For best animated feature film, dramatic, we had King Richard. Pamela Martin wins. And for best animated feature film, comedy, we had Tick, Tick, Boom by Myron Kirsten and Andrew Weisblum for Tick, Tick, Boom. And for best edited animated feature film, Encanto, Jeremy Milton, and best edited documentary feature, it was Summer of Soul or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, Joshua L. Pearson, which excellent editing.
Also, I'm just glad that for non-theatrical documentaries, the Beatles get back.
Oh yes, the Beatles did in fact get back, and they did win. They did win that. So that's a big thing for King Richard to take over a presumed frontrunner's Power of the Dog and Dune. I don't know if this means it's going to win the Oscar for best editing, because if you look back, I'm trying to think what the correlation is, because sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Because it didn't make it at BAFTA. It wasn't even longlisted King Richard at BAFTA, although King Richard is also a very American film. So I know there's always like a correlation between the Guild and then BAFTA, and you got to look at that and see where that meets in the middle. So by that definition, Tick Tick Boom wasn't even there either. So Malcolm, who's winning best editing at the Oscars? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, I was just sort of getting up to find out. Yeah, so it's. I think it is either going to be King Richard or Tick Tick Boom.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what the correlation is between Ace Eddies and the Oscars for sure, but I think
it is high.
Yeah, but the fact you've got but I'm not too sure which of the categories in the editing one is the one that comes out the most. Is kind of what I was getting
usually
at. Because...
drama, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, yeah, no, that would make sense. Drama, because last year Palm Springs was nominated, but obviously didn't even get an Oscar nomination. Or Palm Springs won for the comedy category.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I'm glad Tick Tick Boom got the win for comedy.
Same.
And I would like it, and I mean, if I'm being honest, I kind of want Tick Tick Boom to win over King Richard, but
same.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I've just got no idea which is actually going to win this at this point.
Neither do I. What I see, I think this kind of I thought Dune was going to win because it is the big sci-fi film. It is the big, it is the presumed front runner, but even the presumed front runner can lose steam. And in this case, I guess, I guess it's losing steam, because maybe the Denis Villeneuve snub was a little more than we were anticipating. Than we meant more than we thought it did.
Yeah, honestly, I think when it comes to Dune, I think the editing is not one of the strong parts of Dune. There's a lot of things I could for me. There's moments which I didn't think was edited really well.
Interesting.
So,
what parts? I'm curious. Just do you think?
It's been a while since I've seen Dune, so I can't remember.
Oh, that's fine. I was just curious what your thoughts were upon that, because I actually really like Dune's editing. It's not flashy. Tick Tick Booms is really, Tick Tick Booms is a really flashy editing. Therapy in and of itself, I think one of my favorite scenes, and also nominated for Scene of the Year for the Gone with the Wind Awards. Check it out. Remember to vote below. So what was I saying? My train of thought just derailed now. The Tick Tick Boom is very much kind of a showy editing because they're going back and forth between the actual story and then the framing device of him actually doing this in a performance. And that's really well done. I'd be okay if that won. I'd be very happy if that won. Although King Richard also has really good, the tennis scenes are really are edited together incredibly well.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely one of those categories that could be open ended because I mean, like it's going to be a case of either King Richard or Tick Tick Boom wins or something else wins. So
yes. I don't think Don't Look Up is winning. I can guarantee you that. That's the one out of the four at the Oscars, because the four that are nominated at the Oscars, or sorry, the five are Power of the Dog, Tick Tick Boom, King Richard, Don't Look Up, and which one did I not say? Wait, Power of the Dog, Tick Tick Boom, Don't Look Up, Dune, and King Richard. Okay, those are the five that are nominated for, and I don't think the only one I don't think is going to win is Don't Look Up. And Dan's back. We're talking about Ace Eddie at the moment.
Yeah, I had to set this up on my phone. So if there's any problems, I'm sorry.
What happened to your?
I don't know. What my internet just all of a sudden just went out, and so there you go. It happens. But I got it on my phone now, so hopefully we could get me in here. Did I miss what did I miss? You have any questions you needed to ask me?
No, we were just kind of discussing what our thoughts were in regards to what do we perceive the case to be when it comes to hearing about this report from the Hollywood Reporter about ABC wanting to cut 12 categories and having their hand in the cookie jar when it comes to the Oscars. Now that we have more information about why they wanted to do this.
Yeah, I mean, ABC's looking at the ratings. They're not looking at the artistry of what these people have done all year long. I mean, to me, you have a streaming service called Disney Plus, all right, or Hulu. You own two streaming services. Put the entire show, because you're recording these awards anyway, right? Because you're going to show them in like clips later on. Record the entire show. You know the Super Bowl, okay, for instance, like ABC, ESPN will do multiple angles and viewings of the Super Bowl from various different. They'll do a camera overhead of the field, or they'll do like a HD version of the Super Bowl, or they'll do all these. Do that with the Oscars. Have a full broadcast on one of your streaming services, Hulu or Disney Plus, so anybody that wants to watch the entire show can watch it. And then whenever ABC wants the show to start at like 8 o'clock, whatever awards are got to go on from that point on, you air those awards and dance numbers, song numbers, whatever
they want.
If you want to watch a different version of it, like us, we're the diehards, we can watch the Hulu feed or the Disney Plus feed or whatever. And you just have it in multiple feeds. You don't have to set this kind of crazy like dictatorship type of mantra. Oh, if you don't cut these, we're not going to. Trust me, the Oscars, somebody else will pick up the Oscars. NBC, CBS, somebody will pick them up and they'll air them. So stop that. My thing is stop acting like you're some kind of a dictator, ABC, because somebody will pick these awards up and put them on their network if you guys don't do it. So it's and if I'm not, I wouldn't kowtow down to the ABC either. I mean, like, because inside somebody else will pick them up. So I mean, I don't know why we're all scared. We're all shaking in our boots over here. Like, come on, man. You have ground to stand on if the Academy. You have ground to stand on. Don't be letting them dictate all this stuff to you. But they did come to a good agreement. Cut 8 awards. They'll be interspliced with clips, and we're going to go from there. They did come to an agreement, so hopefully it works. But like we said last week, nobody's getting shortchanged. We're going to see everybody get their awards. It's just going to be a different way of doing it than we've done it in the past.
Well, I guess I guess that now I know your opinion upon those lines. I still think I consider it to be a slight in the sense while they are showing it. Yes, I still think the nature about why they're doing this is the sense of they're not standing up for the artist and being like, no, we want to show these in full. No, they're bowing to ABC. They're bowing to them, being like, yes, whatever you want, just don't cut us. And I think at the end of the day, what they really should be doing is taking a stand for the artistry that they have there and showing it in full. Yes, it's live, it's messy, it's all over the place, but these are the times for people to actually be up there and to celebrate this award, not cut it down. And I understand why they're doing it because they're afraid of being cut and they want to be able to appease ABC. But I think the biggest thing, of course, what they should do at the end of the day is like what you were saying, Dan, at the beginning, right? Maybe have something to where, like, cut it up in two, or something to make sure that everyone gets that equal footing. Because if this at the sound people are like, well, you just went back on our agreement, what are you doing? Listen to them, because of course they're not an Angelina Jolie or a Javier Bardem or a Christoph Waltz or Helen Mirren, or they're not a big actor. They're sound people. They don't have the name recognition, but that doesn't mean they're any less valuable in the artistry. And as someone who has worked upon crews in the past, I'm just not a fan of. I get it. I know why they're doing it, but I'm still not a fan of it. And I think at the best end of the day, to come to that happy medium, I think they should, find a way to, maybe they separate it up. Maybe they have two. Maybe they have something has to change, of course, but I think that they're chasing after an audience that doesn't exist, and they're really not going to see the gains that they really would like. I think anyway. Who do I know, though? What do I know? But Dan, thoughts on Ace Eddie? Because King Richard won against the presumed frontrunners of Dune and The Power of the Dog. King Richard took drama, and Tick Tick Boom beat Don't Look Up in comedy. Where in the world does editing lie at this juncture?
I mean, I think we're going to have a editing award that maybe goes to a one nominee film, potentially here, Manning. And I'm sorry about my camera. I'm just having all kinds of technical problems here. We could have I'll be honest with you. I don't know who won the Ace Eddies. Are we looking at who we think should win Ace Eddies? Is that what we're talking about?
They won. We had the Ace Eddies yesterday, and King Richard won drama, and then Tick Tick Boom won comedy.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to suggest, is that we might have kind of a film like a Tick Tick Boom, which does have the most editing, win editing, and it might not correlate to some of these other awards because it's such standout editing that I don't think you can correlate the Ace Eddies, to me, to the Oscars, except for Tick Tick Boom. I think that I've been thinking about this ever since you brought this up a few weeks ago, that they got into that category. And it's like, wait a minute here. Maybe the best editing got into the category and it might actually win. And that's the lone win for Tick Tick Boom, because I don't see it winning against Best Actor. I just don't see that happening. But that's just
not after SAG, which we can get into in a second. I agree with you there. And I was thinking Dune. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's the technical achievement of the year that it would just waltz in with editing. But I guess we were wrong at the end of the day. That's what I had predicted anyway with Tick Tick Boom. And there were a couple other ones, artistry, but just for the sake of time, we're going to move right into the SAG Awards, which happened last week. And boy, they were an absolute doozy. We're going to stick with the film categories aside, but we're going to look at them and kind of dissect what we can from them. So we start off the night with a bang. And by with a bang, supporting actor. Supporting actor in a film. We kind of were up in the air. I was going with Troy Kotsur. Malcolm, what did you have? Did you have Troy Kotsur or did you have Cody Smith-McPhee?
I Kotsur.
Okay. You had Troy Kotsur. Dan, you had Cody Smith, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so I think Troy Kotsur is starting his reign as the presumed front runner. I could be wrong because BAFTA could go with Cody Smith-McPhee. We will see next week. But Dan, what are your thoughts about Troy Kotsur winning SAG and having a fantastic speech, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with Troy Kotzer winning. I just thought it
Yeah.
was Cody Smith McPhee's year, but it looks like it's not Cody Smith McPhee's year.
Nope.
I've been on this train, and maybe I'm completely wrong about it. The Timothy Hutton thing, but I guess they wanted a champion underrepresented actors, and Troy is in that cat because it's 30 years ago that the last deaf actor won an Academy Award, and that's Marlee Matlin, and she's the co-star of Troy Kotzer in Coda, and I think that is it. That is a narrative here, and I wasn't going to believe that narrative, but now I might have to, and I might have to change things up in my own predictions.
No, and I think that Troy's also just genuinely really great as well in Coda. He's probably out of the 5 that we have there in SAG. He was my favorite. The closest one, of course, might have been Ben Affleck or Cody.
Yeah,
one of those two.
I would have remember we talked about this, and you were like, who would you be through the moon if they had won? I said Ben Affleck. I'd be friggin' oh god, I would have loved that. But no,
I'm not shocked. That is your that is your favorite. All right, Malcolm, for you, sir, please tell me, what are your thoughts on Troy Kotzer winning?
Like, I finalized my SAG predictions like the day, a few hours before we went live to talk about them last time. And I'd just seen Coda at that point, and I really loved it. I don't think Troy's win is because they want to give it to underrepresented actors. I do think he was the better actor in that bunch. Because I think he was amazing in Coda, and he definitely deserved the win. But yeah, it's just
you guys made me look bad, Malcolm. You made me look bad. You injected.
Yeah, I was just surprised me and Jeff agreed on a lot of them.
You guys are double teaming me good on Sunday last week.
But yeah, and it's just one of those ones like, because like if I hadn't seen Coda, I probably would have still had Cody Smith McPhee there. But yeah, I think Cody Smith McPhee's young. I think he's going to have more. He's definitely going to have more chances. And like with Troy, I think it's a case of like, we don't really, when it comes to deaf actors, there's really not a lot of roles out there. And as I found out last week, Troy Kotzer was actually in an episode of The Mandalorian. He played one of the Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
Get out of here! Really?
No.
I looked up his IMDb. It has he's credited as a Tusken Raider in The Mandalorian.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And if you look at the SAGs as a whole, they wanted to represent Asian actors, deaf actors. They went across the board. They didn't shy away from giving awards away.
It was a genuinely, and I'm thrilled as such that it was a genuinely diverse, and it wasn't like it was a really diverse batch of winners, and that's great because honestly, I think every single one that won was incredibly deserving. From Will Smith, from Chastain, even from the on the TV side, ranging from the actors of Squid Game all the way down to like even like Michael Keaton and for Dopesick. Like, I think that it was just a well-rounded group of winners, and I have no complaints. I think it was a genuinely great. And if these were the 4 winners, which we'll get into in a second, I would be really thrilled about that. And I think that Troy gave, as I said, probably one of my favorite speeches of the night. I was a few minutes late to the SAG, so I turned on the TV and I was like, "Wait, he won! Wait, what happened?" So I had to go back and like watch all this stuff. But afterwards, I think, well, first off, let me say, I think that Cody was a very big critic's thing because I think Troy Kotzer has the great Oscar scene, where he actually holds her throat and listens, which is a beautiful scene, listens to her singing. That is an Oscar scene through and through. And I think Cody has some, but not to the degree of which the emotion stirring that Troy Kotzer did in that scene, because that is a brilliant scene between Emilia Jones and Troy Kotzer in my mind.
I agree with you. When he's asking Benedict Cumberbatch's character about the rope, that's
a great scene.
That to me was like, okay. You don't know where that's going. You do not know where that's going until you watch it.
And especially the scene where he takes the cigarette and the shot just lingers on him and he never breaks eye contact with Cumberbatch. That is fantastic acting. I will completely say that. And I think if Cody won, that'd still be another great performance for supporting actor to win. I either one of them won, I'd be super happy. I think it's down to those two at this point, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would argue it's always been down to those two because I think
you're right. It has.
Because like, I think Cody could still pull the upset for the Oscars, but I do think that Troy Kotzer is the best actor that's nominated for supporting actor. And I stand by that because Coda's a great movie. I'm not going to reveal where it ended up on my top 10 after seeing
not yet.
Because
we'll do that later. And then continuing on, we had supporting actress, and Ariana DeBose takes home the actor. And no one was shocked. I think we all had this one, and no one kind of was blinking an eye. She had another great speech. Nothing really major in her speech, but it was still just a very sweet and genuine, sincere speech, and I really appreciate that. Just to see, especially because you consider, what she did before that when she was, just an actor, a struggling actor, and going to where she is now and being a SAG winner and probably an Oscar winner. I think it was a really well-deserved award, even though Malcolm, I know, disagrees. Who did you have DeBose predicted, I'm assuming, but who did you want to win, Malcolm?
I didn't have DeBose predicted. Like, that was one of my misses. I Kirsten Dunst. I thought she was amazing in Power of the Dog.
Fair, yeah.
And yeah, but I mean, I have my SAG predictions done before I haven't seen West Side Story because it just dropped on Disney Plus after the SAG Awards. But and I didn't actually watch it until Fridays. But yeah, I mean, if Ariana DeBose gets the Oscar, I'm not going to be too upset because I did think, like, for what she did for Anita, she did a good job of it. I just don't think she's the better one that should win in this category. I think Kirsten Dunst should win in this.
I was team Ruth Nega, but that was never going to happen. Dan, what did you you had DeBose, I know. What did you think of her win?
Well, I was good. She's a representative of LGBT community, and
she's right. LGBTQ plus, she is.
And I said it to Jeff, and I said it to Malcolm. She is West Side Story. I know Malcolm disagrees, and Jeff was giving me a little bit of a hard time last week. But without her, that movie really is not that good. She makes it worthwhile for me. And I know Malcolm's going to disagree because he already said it earlier. I believe she's the one redeeming quality besides like the costumes and the makeup and cinematography and maybe the set production, stuff like that, the editing maybe. She, when it comes to the cast, is the one redeeming quality to that film that is worth watching that film. When she comes on screen, she electrifies that film. She does. Her scenes and when the dance, and then she's singing America, and she just jumps off the screen when you see her. when it comes to, and she's like night and day above everybody else on screen when she's on screen, in my opinion. And that's the one redeeming quality of that movie that's worth watching. And she definitely deserved that award by the actors. And I think she's going to win the Oscar too.
All right. No, yeah. And I think, the more I want to rewatch it again, because I do think that she gives a fantastic performance. And I do want to see that. I do really want to be able to see that again with fresh eyes for West Side Story, because I think it deserves that. It deserves to be seen again. I think maybe without my just kind of like putting aside in the back of my mind, putting aside and putting away my thoughts upon the original and try to look at it from an artistic perspective if I can. Although it's kind of hard.
And when I walked out of that, Manning, back in December, that's all I thought. I talked about. I said, "Oh my God, who is that played Anita? I mean, who is that person? She was incredible." That's my comments when I walked out of that movie, and I haven't seen the movie since. And I'm going to probably watch it again this week just to revisit it.
Yeah, no, I think that's incredibly fair because I'm always for movies getting second chances to be able to see. Yeah, no, Arnie DeBose won. No one is too shocked, honestly. I know Malcolm had Kirsten Dunst, but I think she's number 2. I think at the end of the day, everything she has, she's number 2 after Balfe missed at the Oscars because Balfe can't win, even though she had everything. Why did that happen? I don't know, because Dinch took the spot.
Who knows? Why they
Anyway, go ahead, Malcolm.
I mean, like maybe as a case, maybe at the Oscars it might have been when they're doing the nominations, there might have been a vote split.
Oh Lord, that's violent.
Dinch really wanted that Oscar so bad.
She really did. She just wants that nomination, is what she does. Come on, Dinch.
Got a lot of friends.
I know, right?
No, I'm just wondering if there was a vote split somewhere when they're doing the nominations, and Balfe just had a few less votes, and that's how she fell out. Who knows?
No, who knows? But the next one we had was Best Actress. Best Actress came and arrived with a fanfare because we were thinking this is the one that I think most of us were like, I have no idea what is going to happen, and whatever happens, we're going to have chaos. And lo and behold, Jeff Goldblum announced Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and I know I was like, what? What was this? It was pure bananas. And I am okay with that because I truly think she gave one of the best performances of the year. Yes, she's covered in makeup, but just like actors and actresses of the past, I feel like she disappeared into that role. And you heard in her speech, after 10 years of trying to get this movie off the ground, I think her getting recognized by her peers is a good, even if she doesn't win the Oscar, which we'll get into in a sec, I still think this was a great speech, a fantastic win amidst other ones like Kidman, Hudson, Gaga, or Coleman, which I don't think I dislike any of the other performances, but I just do think Chastain, to me, out of those 5, was my favorite. Dan, what about you when Jessica Chastain won for playing Tammy Faye Baker?
I've been singing the praises of Jessica Chastain in this role for months and months and months. And the Academy, and I know this isn't the Oscars, but they love their actors when they cover themselves up and they go through these prosthetics. They make themselves into whoever they're playing, whether it's Winston Churchill, whether it's Eileen Wuornos, whether it's whoever. In this case, it's Tammy Faye Baker. And the journey of Jessica Chastain as an actress might be enough for her to finally win that Oscar that has eluded her. Like Will Smith, it's his turn. It might be Jessica Chastain's turn this year, and we didn't even realize it. And maybe the largest voting body, which is the actors, I might add, that's going to play into who wins that Oscar, because they do have a lot of people up for in the Academy that are actors. So this might be a little bit of a clue who might win. And we'll play a little bit of a game. Hopefully we'll have time to play this little game.
We will.
But yeah, I was happy. I was really happy. I mean, I predicted Nicole, Malcolm and Jeff convinced me to switch I had Jessica Chastain.
You did.
Yep. And Malcolm and Jeff convinced me to switch live on the air, and I switched to Nicole Kidman.
Malcolm, what have you done to poor Dan? You convinced him.
I mean, but wasn't our goal to convince Dan? I mean, he made the choice to switch on his own.
Fair.
But I mean, it's just one of those ones like I picked Nicole Kidman because I thought she was great as Lucy, and it's just one of those ones that I haven't seen Tammy Faye, so I don't know how good Jessica Chastain is. I'll probably get around to seeing it. But that being said, I think this is a year that it's not the SAG win is not going to repeat because we keep forgetting we got Kristen Stewart outside of that 5 who that wasn't nominated, who could come out of nowhere to win the Oscar, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way the votes go, and the actors go, well, Kristen Stewart wasn't nominated the SAG, so we'll give her the Oscar. Because she is really deserving, and
I mean, they're all deserving. There's no doubt about that, Malcolm. There's no doubt about that.
I think. Well, I'll hold my thoughts in a second because
we're gonna play a game in a few minutes.
Yes, we're gonna play in a few minutes. So, because I have a fun stat, out of the 27 times SAG has been around, because this is the 28th, but we haven't had obviously the next Oscar, so we can't correlate that from SAG to Oscar. The correlation kind of is, I'll tease you, it's interesting, but we'll get to that in a second. Big Willie, Best Actor, Will Smith wins. I thought for a second maybe we'd get Garfield or Cumberbatch, but no. I think this one might play out as we expect. Like, I think it's going to be like, okay, cool. I'm okay with that. It's a deserving reward. It's his time to get for a good performance, mind you. This isn't Al Pacino in Sin to the Woman that people like to go back to. This is a genuinely good performance, and I am okay with that. So Malcolm, we'll start in reverse. And then Malcolm, Dan, and me. Malcolm, what are your thoughts about Will Smith's SAG win and when they ultimately called his name and he accepted the award?
Yeah, this was probably one of the easiest ones to predict. Just because, like, it's kind of been the narrative, like, all through there. Will Smith's been the one that's sort of coming out through the critics groups and all that.
Next to Cumberbatch, who has had the most.
But yeah, I think it's just been a case of it's been Will Smith's year, and it's just so it wasn't too surprising when he won. Yeah. And I just think that it's definitely going to be an easy one to sort of predict come Oscar time, because and he got his revenge on Denzel, so he's got that on.
And not to keep bringing up Jeff Snyder all the time, but he did say, just because it's Will Smith's turn doesn't mean he didn't give the best performance.
Agreed.
So there you go.
Well, I was about to say it, and I was adding to the fact, this isn't, as I said, this isn't Al Pacino in Sin to the Woman. This is a genuinely good performance, and while it's not my favorite performance of the year, I think this is still a very great, not just good, but a great performance from Will Smith. And I think it's his first performance where I feel like he's played someone who's not a variation of Will Smith. Even like Ali, I was like, okay, that's still Will Smith. This is the one where I was like, okay, he has grown and matured as an actor since the Fresh Prince days. He has become an actor that I think is a genuinely great talent. Not saying wasn't before, but he is stretched outside of the role that is just Will Smith, I think, at least. Dan, what is your thoughts on the speech and his win at SAG?
Yeah, I've had him, Will Smith, winning this award for about half a year now. It seems like it's been so long since I saw. I think the week before, like early November, I saw King Richard, and I said to myself, if Will Smith doesn't win the Academy Award this time around, I mean, I don't know who I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch was great. There's no doubt about it. Andrew Garfield was great. But I think it's just his turn. And not only is it his turn, just like Jeff said, he also gives the best performance. I mean, he literally gives the best performance of the year. And he should be rewarded for that. I'm glad he won the SAG, and I'm glad. And I love these speeches because you start to see the speeches. I remember the year when Christoph Waltz won the Versus, and you started seeing all his speeches. It's like this guy's
he's really natural.
He likes getting up on that stage. He likes accepting these awards. And same thing with Joaquin Phoenix a couple of years ago. He one by one, he was getting all these awards, and you could just see these speeches, and these guys really are grateful for doing the things that they're doing, getting the roles that they're getting, and acting as a whole. And they want to use this platform for something. And Will Smith did that with his SAG speech, and I think you're going to keep going forward. You're going to start seeing him do that week after week when all these awards keep cropping up every week. Yeah, he's just going to keep giving these speeches, and he's going to use that platform for something more important than just himself.
Which I will bring up into the question in a second when we get into BAFTA, but I do think it's a great speech when he was talking about having Venus Williams right there and how he was saying in a really funny matter, like, I know you guys didn't sign off of it until you saw it. I get that. I understand that. I respect that. That was a great, genuinely good laugh. And you forget, man, he is a really charismatic, really, really charismatic guy. And I'm just happy for him to have that time. But in addition to that, the equivalent to Best Picture, it's not the Best Picture per se, it's the Best Cast Ensemble. And this year, Coda is your winner. So I'm curious, Malcolm, Dan, did you guys have Coda?
Yes.
No.
You did not. Okay. So Dan, tell me, what was your thought process? What did you have? And what was your thought process for that choice? And Coda, what do you think of it as a winner?
Well, I've been on this train a while that I thought, and Malcolm's been giving me crap about it, that I thought the biggest cast would win this. I think I just thought they would give it to the biggest cast and it wouldn't correlate to the Oscars. But now that they gave it to an underrepresented group, which is deaf actors in a deaf movie, this might actually have some correlation to the Academy Awards. And Power of the Dog better be shaking in its boots right about now, because this might actually make a difference. This award might correlate. And I don't have any problems with it winning. I mean, I thought it was a great movie. I just never thought Coda would have the legs it has had. We are going on 14 months since this movie premiered at Sundance 2 years ago. 2 Sundances ago, this movie appeared. And Manning still has one over on me that week, because he saw that and I didn't. And I had to wait till August to see it. But I saw it a good 10 months ago. So, but it's a great film. There's no doubt about it. This whole narrative that it's too much of a feel-good film and this and that. Well, Green Book won the Oscar. That was a feel-good film. Driving Miss Daisy won the Oscar. We've had feel-good films win the Oscar before. So it's not something that hasn't happened in the past. Slumdog Millionaire added a little bit of a feel-good story to it, even though it had some other things going on.
Which, by the way, won on SAG Ensemble, Slumdog Millionaire. Keep going.
So there you go. That's a 1v1 right there. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any issues with Coda winning. I think it's a great film, and I'm glad an underrepresented group is being recognized on this level. My brother is deaf in one ear, and it's very difficult for him because people think because he talks loud when he's at work and stuff that he's yelling at people, but he's not. He can't hear sometimes because if he's facing the wrong way, he can't hear what you're saying. So he talks loud to talk to people, and then they think he's yelling. So it can be difficult. And my brother's only deaf in one ear. I can imagine I can't even imagine actually being deaf in both ears, not being able to hear what people are saying. But that one moment in the movie where they're sitting in the crowd and they're listening to her sing, and they cut the music and it goes all the way down, so you feel like what they're feeling. That really resonated with me, like how difficult their deaf people's situation really is. And so, yeah, I have no problems with Coda winning, none at all. I think now we might have a race though at the Oscars, which is good.
Which then I'll bring to the point, Malcolm, for you. Why did you want to pick Coda, you think, at the end of the day? And what is your thoughts on it winning SAG Ensemble?
I mean, I picked Coda because I thought that was the one that was going to win. It like
Fair.
I know it's one of those ones, like when it comes to ensemble, I've got a different opinion on what constitutes ensemble. At the end of the day, I just do not want to imagine Don't Look Up winning, and potentially being a front runner to the and it's one of those ones because this is one of those things because I mean I think I don't know what the correlation is with ensemble and best picture because like for me, best picture at the Oscars is more than just the actors. It's everything that goes into the making of the movie. Because I was actually listening to critically acclaimed Mailbag where they talked about the difference between best picture and best director. And they brought up a big thing that best picture is a combination of a bunch of different things.
Yes.
And so, because they're talking about specifically the snub of Denis Villeneuve, said, and I mean, even like Bibbs was saying, like he was really impressed with the production of Dune. He just wasn't impressed with the storytelling and direction of Dune. So he definitely agreed that Denis shouldn't have been nominated for best director, but he said it was a really good production. So I mean.
Respectfully disagree with Bibbs, but please continue.
Disagree.
But it's just one of those ones that so I still think Power Dog is still for me the front runner for best picture, but I think Coda's made a good case, and if it's Coda starts picking up, because I can't remember how many other awards it was nominated for, but if it starts picking up more awards throughout the night at the Oscars, then it's going to be a different narrative.
It's only been nominated for 3. Coda is only nominated for 3 awards.
Which now I'm bringing up the discussion of, I'm looking back at SAG and Oscar and the correlation. Out of the 28 times that we have had this award, the 27 times we've had this award, excuse me, it has gone to it 12 times. So it's a little less than half of the best of that cast ensemble going to win Best Picture, being in the same correlation. So it's a little less than half, a little less than 50%. We'll say like 40 or so percent. So Coda's in a good spot. But then again, you look back at Trial of the Chicago 7, which was also a movie that won last year and was like second or third to win, and yet it still couldn't win at the end of the day. It also did not have Best Director. Let's remember that. Aaron Sorkin missed that year, just as Sean Heder missed for this year, which I don't think Coda will win the Oscar, mainly because it's liked a lot, but I think they love the actors more than they love the movie, because that's my favorite part of the movie. It's the performances are my favorite part of the film.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like that's what I always don't get people going, oh, this movie's won best song at the SAG, it means it must mean it wins best picture. Like it's only the actors that this is for. And best picture at the Oscars is encompassing of many different branches. It's everything into one. Well, don't get me wrong. If Coda does win best picture, I'll be happy. It is a remarkable movie.
Yes, I would be very happy if it does win best picture. I have no complaints.
But I do think Power Dog is still for me the front runner just because of the amount of nominations it got.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will quickly add to that fact is that if you look back at the Oscars, the closest correlation you could have is Spotlight, which won 2 Oscars that night, screenplay and picture, and it won SAG Ensemble. That said, I'm pretty sure I'm checking this right now, just to make sure that that's the case. Yes, okay. It had Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Film Editing for Spotlight. So there was a lot of love outside of just the acting branch. And you're right, Dan. It only has 3 Coda. But then again, I look at someone like Scott Menzel, and then I look at Clayton Davis of Variety, and then they're on the ground. They are talking to actual people who are voting. We're not there. We can look at the stats and we can look at the actual numbers and be like, well, that doesn't make sense from a numbers perspective because it only has 3. Where is the correlation? But if we're looking at the people who are actually on the ground, it makes me think, what are they hearing? Are they hearing a lot of love for Coda? And was Coda going to do well when it comes to this ranking system they have for picture? There's a possibility. There is a possibility it could win. I don't think it is.
You're talking about second and third place votes, Manning, and that's the thing.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe Power of a Dog gets a bunch of first place votes, but is it going to get a bunch of second and third place votes? Where Coda could get some first place votes, second place votes, third place votes. And that's where I think you got to be careful about predicting Power of the Dog, because it's got to get. I think you have a lot of the people that love Power of the Dog, they're going to vote it number 1. But then you have this whole other group that maybe don't love it. But as far as Coda goes, you're going to get a lot of that first place votes, second place votes, third place votes. And I don't think you're going to get that with Power of the Dog.
You either love it or you don't.
That's it. Yeah, that's exactly. You're absolutely 100% correct, Manning. You either love Power of the Dog or you don't. And that's where I think we're at here with that film. And Coda, there's a lot of love.
What if Coda is what we thought Belfast was going to be? The feel-good film that people really rallied behind. Excuse me. Malcolm, or do you think that might be the case?
I mean, maybe. Possibly. I don't know. It's because like I've also heard a lot of love for Power of the Dog too. I think it's one of those. I think Power of the Dog is going to has like you're just overestimating, because I think there's a lot of people that do love it a lot to give first place. So I think there's also people that's going to love it enough, but maybe they've got something else at number 1. But I think it could still get a lot of second and third place votes too.
Yes.
I think we can all agree, as long as Don't Look Up doesn't win, then I think we'll be happy.
Yes, we will be happy. We'll be happy if Don't Look Up, but I don't think it's going to win after Lost Ensemble and Ace Eddies. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, you're right. And I'm telling you, I will say this about Don't Look Up. The message of Don't Look Up is a great message. And I don't want that to be lost on people watching. The message in Don't Look Up is a great message. But I don't think the message in the film was expressed in the best possible way it could have. And that's the only reason. But I do not have a problem with that film as far as like getting awards nomination and getting into some of these categories, because it has a great message, and a message that I think I'm glad Adam McKay decided to tackle.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Coda, could it win the Oscar? Maybe. We don't know. I don't think it will. But I could be wrong, because again, we're not on the ground in LA talking to actual voters. We are in New Zealand, we are in North Carolina, and we're in Florida. So yeah, we're not in LA. We're on farther sides than that.
Malcolm's
I mean, I could be in LA for, you know. I just.
You're right.
This is gonna be a fictional background.
You're right that you absolutely could. I don't know. You absolutely could do that. But I want to talk about something real fast before we wrap things up, and that is the game Dan had mentioned prior. And there's a stat I want to take y'all into mind before we do that. I want us to take all these 4 categories, and I want us to look not ensemble, because there is no equivalent to ensemble in the Oscars, but supporting actor, supporting actress, lead actor and lead actress. We're going to take a look at them and we're going to correlate and see what our thoughts are on it actually translating to an Oscar win. So I did the math. I literally went through each one in the past and figured out what is the most likely scenario. And I'm going to do this before I let Dan talk about what his idea was. Out of the 27 times, and I'm not counting this at the 28th again, so we're not counting this one. On the 27 times the awards have been given out, what do you guys guess out of the 4 instances of 4 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 2 out of 4, and 1 out of 4 times where it's correlated with the Oscars? Which one of those 4 do you think is the most likely to happen most of the time on average?
I'm going with
2 out of. I would say 2 out of 4.
2 out of 4. Dan, what do you think?
3.
3 out of 4. Well, 12 times out of 27, it's 3. 3 times it transpires. Three different actors win out of the for be it, I don't know, let's say lead actor misses the Oscar, but the same people who got SAG for lead actress, supporting actress wins it. That's 3 out of 4 that take it. That happens 12 out of 27 times. The second is actually 4 out of 4 with 8 out of 27 times. And then finally, it's 2 for 4, it's 5 out of 27. And then last but not least, it's 2 out of 24 for 1 out of 20, for 1 out of 4. If that makes any sense whatsoever. That 1 out of 4 only happened back to back in 2001 and 2002. So that was a weird year. I don't remember exactly what won that year, but like that was a year where only one who won the Oscar. I don't forget who it was. One SAG went on to win the Oscar, and I don't know who that was. I'm blanking. But I know that was the year of Johnny Depp winning, I think, for SAG, and then he didn't win that same year. But okay, so Dan, what is the idea you had for us when it comes to these? I just wanted to throw that out there so you guys can get an idea of like, okay, maybe this will happen. So what's your idea for the game we're going to have as we wrap things up today?
All right, let's just take these 4 categories.
Okay.
And we're gonna go play a game here. You guys, I want to know your opinion. Does the correlation between these 4 actors go to the Academy Awards? And we're going to start with Ariana DeBose, probably one of the most obvious ones. Will she win the Academy Award? Malcolm.
I think it. Oh,
Manning,
go ahead, Malcolm.
whatever.
No, Malcolm, please.
Yes.
All right. So now we got 1. We got 1. Now, what do you say, Manning?
Yes. This is a 99% chance it's happening.
All right. So now, going off what you said before, Manning, now we got 1. So we're already up to 1. All right. Now we're going to go with Big Willie, Will Smith. Does Will Smith correlate SAG to the Academy Awards? Malcolm.
Sorry, I missed that.
Will Smith. Will he win both?
Yes.
All right. So, Manning.
I think he might miss BAFTA, but he's getting the Oscar.
All right. So we're not worrying about that.
I know, but I'm just stating that.
Yeah. All right. So now we're already up to 2. We're already up to 2 for 2 from the group because I agree with you guys on these 2. These 2, yes. I think you correlate. Now we're going to get into the interesting. We're going to go for Best Actress now. Actually, we're going to do 5. We're going to do 5. Okay. We'll wait for the 5th one until last. But Best Actress, Malcolm, does Jessica Chastain get the double here? SAG and Oscar now.
No.
Okay. Oh, Malcolm's 2-1. Manning, you're up.
Sadly, no.
Oh, 2-1 for both of you guys. I'm going to go 3 for 3, and I'm going to go yes. She does win. I think we're starting to we're starting on this train for Jessica Chastain where I think she could win. It's her turn like it was Will Smith's turn. I think she's been doing a lot of really great work for a good 10 years now. Yeah. I think it's her turn, and I'm going to go yes. So I'm going to go 3 for 3. Now we're going to go Best Supporting Actor. Malcolm, does Troy Kotsur win the Academy Award?
Yes.
All right, so you're 3 for 4. Manning, what do you got?
I'm also 3 for 4. I think he will.
So I'm gonna stick to my guns and I'm gonna go Cody Smith McPhee. So I'm 3 for 4 with a different one than you guys because I'm different in supporting actor, and you guys are different in best actress. So we're all gonna go with Manning's stat 3 for 4 on the correlation. We're just a little bit off on our
Yes.
because you guys are going for Troy Kotsur for best supporting actor, and you're gonna say that Jessica Chastain isn't gonna win for best actress, and I'm gonna go for Cody Smith McPhee for best supporting actor, and I am gonna say Jessica Chastain for best actor. So who do you got if Jessica Chastain doesn't win for best actress then?
Kristen Stewart.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay. Part of me wants to say Chastain because who's winning? Like literally, this is more chaotic for Best Actress this year than we had than we had even last year because BAFTA can't tell us squat, and critics is most likely going to go to Stewart. So you got Kidman, Stewart, and
Chastain.
Chastain.
And the thing too is you got to remember this as well. You got 3 winners already in Best Actress that have already won.
Yeah.
And you know how much they love. They're 2-time winners. But then you got 2 that haven't won before, and it would be their first. And you know they love giving their first Oscar. 2 very successful actresses in the last 10 years and 20 years. Well, 12 or 13 years for Chastain, and about 20 years, it's been a good 20-year career for Stewart. So you got a 20-year veteran in Stewart, and you got a person that's been in the limelight pretty much popping up in the last 13 or so years for Chastain. So you got 2 vets, but you also got 2-time winners in there as well. So best actress is going to be interesting, but we go for your stat, Manning, 3 for 4. So go ahead, Manning. Say something. You have something? And then
I'm going to back out from what I was going to say.
right.
I'm going to go 4 for 4. I'm going to say they all translate. I'm going to do it. I'm going to change what I think. It's going to be 4 for 4, I think, because now that I'm thinking about it, I don't see how Stewart wins based solely upon the fact that she has no other nominations. She's not steamrolling through everything. Like the only reason that someone from a movie that would, but then again, Chastain only has makeup and hairstyling as a corresponding nomination. So then Nicole Kidman could be it because you have the acting branch that really loves her. So I don't know. I don't know, Dan. I don't know.
Yeah. Go ahead, Manning. Malcolm.
No, what I was about to say is because I quickly looked up. You said it was 2001, 2002, which were the years that only had one actor correspond with SAG and Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked it up. So for 2001, Julia Roberts was the one that got SAG and the Oscar. Although the interesting thing is, Benicio del Toro won supporting actor for Traffic at the SAG, but won lead actor at the Oscars.
Okay,
so
fair. And I guess it's 2.
But the year after that was Halle Berry for Monsters Ball.
So let's go ahead, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just looked it up and thought I'd mention it because I thought it was interesting.
It's not part of the game, but just for the heck of it, we're going to throw it out there. And best ensemble isn't best picture, but let's, for the fun of it, Malcolm, does Coda go on to win best picture?
No.
Manning, does Coda go on to win best picture?
It does not. It does not, Dan.
And I'm right on board with you guys. I'm saying no. It does not go on to win best picture. We're going to get into future predictions for the Oscars down the road. So that's an interesting. That was an interesting game. I got Manning to change But
You did.
Malcolm went with the stat, and I went with the stat. Manning went a little bit.
I went a little more. Well, I will say, based upon the stats that I do have there, that 4 out of 4 is the second most likely thing to happen at 8 out of 27 instead of 12 out of 27. So it's only a 4-year difference. So I'll give myself a little wiggle room.
Yeah. So that was interesting. So me and Malcolm both think it's going to be a 3 out of 4, and Manning's going to he switched up, went 4 for. That was an interesting little game, little kind of tidbit in what we're kind of thinking down the road here for these awards.
No, I agree. And it could completely change. And more than likely it's going to change than what we expect it to be. Not going to lie. Because it's always an ever evolving thing. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up here now. So Malcolm, quickly before we wrap up, guys, the Gone with the Wind Awards is still transpiring right now as we speak. I'm going to tweet about it. I'm going to make sure I get on top of that now. We need your votes to be able to tell us what is the best of the year from the Gone with the Wind Award fans. The links are always going to be in the description of the videos and of themselves, and I will tweet it out. I'm sure Malcolm and Dan will do the same as well, too. I'm going to give the link to them. We're going to make sure you guys can vote because, again, you have until, what was my final date? I put a final date on it. The 19th. So you have not this Saturday, but the next Saturday before in order for us to finally tabulate everything. So get those votes in. I implore you to do as such. Tell us what your favorite is of the year, and we'll be happy to be able to take those, and I'll be tabulating those votes on that Saturday. So when we record on Sunday, we'll be ready. So now, Malcolm, where can they find you?
You can find me on hosting Rankum in just a couple of hours. Actually, we're talking about DC animated movies. But you can also find me hosting trivia on Full Metal. And this week, I hope to possibly see the Batman, but I know I'm definitely going to watch Nightmare Alley because that's dropping on Disney Plus this week. So
hey, wow, Disney Plus, that's so strange. Strange to think about, that it's just going to be right there on Disney Plus. Dan, where can they find you?
You can find me at Dan Skip Allen on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. Also, my YouTube channel. I'm ramping up for Bleacher Features Season 4. Hope to get these two guys to do an episode this year. And I'm a film critic in Orlando, Florida. I write for a website called disappointmentmedia.com, where I do all kinds of retrospectives, anniversaries. We do Criterion voyages. I'm doing a bunch of TV shows, as I mentioned before. If I'm not writing for disappointmentmedia.com, I'm writing on my own blog, from the fourthrow.wordpress.com. If you want to read my thoughts about the Batman, you can go there and read my review of the Batman. Keep an eye out. We're ramping up for Bleacher Features, so that's my YouTube show. So I'm glad to be getting back into that this year, this time of year.
Awesome. So for myself, you can find me here hosting Gone with the Wind on Take 3 Productions YouTube channel, as well as right over here on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I'm going to get right on that and make sure this episode gets on there at a timely manner, as well as you can find me critic for WFMY News 2 here in Greensboro, North Carolina. You can find us on YouTube or our website, or just watch our channel if you're in the Piedmont Triad area in North Carolina. I do a critical review segment called News 2 Reviews. This coming week will be The Batman. I had one other one, fun story. I had another one that I had already written and edited, and then my hard drive crashed and I lost all of it. I know, right? All the editing, all the effects, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna not worry about it. So you're never gonna see what that review is, and you'll never know. But it wasn't the Batman. The Batman's coming this week. And you can find me basically right here hosting Gone with the Wind. Thank you guys for joining us for this episode, the 96th episode. Don't forget to vote for Gone with the Wind Awards, and we will see you all next time. Have a great rest of the week. And BAFTA's next week, guys. And so is Critics' Choice and DGA. That's a lot.
Got a lot to talk about.
I know. Quickly, Malcolm, who's winning DGA?
I don't remember who's nominated.
Say Jane Campion. It's the easiest answer.
Jane Campion.
There you go. Dan, who's winning DGA?
Yeah, Jane Campion.
I mean, yeah, I think that's one of the most easiest ones to predict of the night. Jane Campion. Yeah. Have a good rest of the week, guys.
He's looking at you, kids.
I
wish I knew how to quit you. Bond. This seems so easy. James Bond.
There's no place like
I'm
home.
gonna make him an offer down with you.